Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shop Talk number 45. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any problems with audio or video here, let me know because I'm sitting in the basement talking to myself, so I can't hear myself. So if I have any problems with audio, need to adjust the levels, just let me know. Thank you and Merry Christmas. This is our end of the year Shop Talk. We've done several Shop Talks this year. It's been a busy year. And I'll get more into that here in just a minute. Today we got a great show for you. We got StewMac, a sponsor here at the Lutherie Academy, is going to be coming on here in just a few minutes. We're going to do a few product demos for you, and we're going to give away some of these StewMac products. By the way, StewMac is having a free shipping offer right now until the end of the month on the 31st. Any order over $95 or $99 will get free shipping. So there's a link, I think, in the video description that you can use to get the $99 free shipping. Thank you to Jim Deeming for the wonderful theme music here for the opening of the Shop Talk live stream. Jim's a thumb-picking fingerstyle guy right here in Berthoud, Colorado. So if you want to check out his music, go see jimsguitar.com. All right. Go ahead and put in your, excuse me, I got a little something in my throat here this morning. Go ahead and put in the chat group or in the chat box where you're from, because I always enjoy seeing where people are from. So go ahead and put that in the chat box there. I see we got a lot of people already tuning in, all the way from Pakistan. My God, what time is it over there? We got people from Oregon, Valley Center, California, Monterey, California. There's a question already for Cesar. Is the giveaway only for the U.S.? The giveaway is going to be international except for one of the giveaways, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. That's only going to be domestic, but the rest of them will go international. JC from Motor City, Jim Kirby, Newark, Delaware, Tahiti, my God, look at that. Fort Worth, Texas, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cesar's down there in Brazil. We'll talk to him in a minute. Lakewood, Colorado, my God. It always amazes me the reach that we have here. So thank you for tuning in, certainly appreciate it. Let's pop down there to Brazil real quick. We've got the Cesar and the lovely Manuela. It's Christmas time, so check this out. Look at that background there. It's even snowing outside there.
Hello.
Yeah, we
a round of
have
applause
snow.
for Cesar. There we go. Cesar and Manuela. How are you doing, Cesar?
Fine. Well, suffering a little bit from the heat of the summer, despite the snow on the window, you know.
That's great. That's a green screen Cesar has there. Normally he uses the green screen from the O'Brien Guitars Workshop, but now it's snowing. So Cesar, we're going to have a giveaway today, of several giveaways actually. How do people sign up for the giveaway, and would you like to talk about the products?
Yeah, so signing up is actually very easy. As usual, we have a link at the top of the chat box here in YouTube. All you have to do is click that link, let us know your name and email so we can contact you. And we have plenty of giveaways today. Only one, also answering the comments, only one is domestic only. So the big part of them are international shipping. And we are going to give away an essential fretting tool set, multiple chisel sets, actually 5, if I'm correct, and also a finishing bundle. Only this bundle is US only, but the others can be shipped internationally.
All right. Thank you, Cesar and Manuela. We will be coming back to you here in a little bit and talking about or letting you do the giveaways. Thank you so much. We'll be back here momentarily. I always like to highlight the Lutherie Academy sponsors. Without them, life would be a lot more difficult here at the Lutherie Academy. They help keep the lights on. They help make these things possible, the Shop Talk live stream. So let's just pop over to the Lutherie Academy website real quick. If you click in the upper right-hand corner there where it says sponsors, you will see all of the sponsors here at the Lutherie Academy. We've got Royal Lac, we've got Acoustic Coffee, Pacific Rim Tone Woods, and of course StewMac, Elevate Lutherie, Total Vice, and Glue Boost. Folks, if you need a product or service, go to these folks. They've been vetted. They all have great products, great services. They stand behind their product or their service, and they help make our lives as luthiers a lot easier. So please make sure that you support these folks. All right. It has been a very busy year here at the Lutherie Academy. I'm going to go back over to the website again, and let's see here. There we go. Push that button. There are the people that came and built guitars with me this year. 22 guitars were built here at the Luther Academy and O'Brien Guitar. So a round of applause for those folks. My God. I always tell my students when they come to build them, I say, thank you very much for making the effort to come here. Because getting away from family and friends and work and all that kind of stuff, to come spend a week with me in my shop is greatly appreciated. And I can't make a living if you don't do that. So thank you very much to the 22 people that came and built guitars with me this year. Certainly appreciate that. I've got a list here. Every year my list gets longer of everything I've accomplished throughout the year. And when I look at it, I think, my God, did I do all this? Well, apparently I did. And so I have to write everything down here so I don't miss anything. So the first thing is I want to say thank you very much to the 22 people that came and built guitars with me. And I've got some pictures that I'm going to show you here of Trevor Gore. He actually came and built or gave a master class. Brock was actually here for that. Let me just get back to the pictures here I want to get to. Give me just a second. Technological problem here. All right, here we go. Trevor Gore, a good buddy of mine in Sydney, Australia, who wrote the book on design and guitar building, came to the O'Brien Guitars Luther Academy workshop again. Brock was actually one of the classes. We had 49 students over three-day master classes, so over 9 different days of classes. And Trevor came all the way from Sydney, Australia to do his modal tuning master class. If you have not had the opportunity to take Trevor's modal tuning masterclass, and if he's ever in your part of the world, then you need to take this class. It will completely change the way that you look at the guitar and how it produces sound, the frequencies that are necessary to produce the sound, and how you can manipulate those frequencies. These are pictures of all the students that were in the 3 different classes, and it was a very intense period. This was just a couple of months ago. This was in October here in Colorado. So thank you for all the folks that came in to do that. We had people from Austria, Finland, Mexico, Argentina, Canada, Germany, and all over the United States. So it was a very busy time, and I thank all of the people that came in for that and made the effort for that. I hope you got what you came for. Going back to the pictures again, I teach classes every year at the Mark Adams School of Woodworking in Franklin, Indiana. And this year I taught an inlay class, the old-fashioned inlay. We did it all by hand. There's some of the projects here. It was a 5-day class, and after just 3 or 4 days, these are what the folks were producing there. The one at the bottom there with the sailboats, those are guitar picks, by the way. The person brought in a bunch of guitar picks, and that's what she used for one of the projects that she did. Well, these are all cut by hand and all inlaid by hand. No CNC work here. And so very, very fun class. It was a 5-day class. There's one of the signatures that we learned how to do there from one of the students. There's the victims in the class. We spent 5 days together in Franklin, Indiana in July. I also taught a French polish class. This is the open bar there. It's a very popular class when the alcohol comes out. And there is Elaine. Elaine's down there in Tennessee. She's a student of mine. She came in and took the class there with me at Mark Adams, and look at the shine that she got on her project. Isn't that amazing? And there's the victims for that. All right. We also launched several courses at the Luther Academy this year, and let me just pull up the website here. The online courses that were launched this year were making guitar dovetail joints. That's with Canadian luthier Charles Tauber. If you want to learn anything about dovetails, he's the guy. And he put together an online course there for us about how to make guitar dovetail joints. Also drafting instrument plans with CAD. From Seattle luthier Christian Young, he put together a really great course on how to do CAD to make your own drawings. Gypsy Jazz guitar building with Canadian luthier Michael Whitney up there at Whitney Guitars in Somerville, BC. And also the semi-hollow body electric guitar with Brazilian luthier João Casillas. And dun, 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 drum roll please, we have a brand new course coming out. I filmed it this past year in July. I don't know how I found the time to do it, but traditional woodworker from Brazil, Thiago Endrigo Silva, came and we filmed a course on how to make wooden hand planes. And if you've never made your own wooden hand plane, it is a really fun project. Doesn't require a lot of tools, know-how, or materials. You can whip this thing out with scrap materials and you can do it all by hand. So that's coming up here in just a few weeks. Something else that's new on the Luthor Academy website is the resources page. Now, Cesar, all the way down there in Brazil, and I've spent a lot of time putting this together. There's a lot of links to all kinds of things Luthor related. Some of them are PDF files you can download. Others are external links about how to do a bunch of different stuff. In fact, Jeff Jewett here recently put one up on his finishing process using the ILVA products, which is one of the products that we're going to give away from StewMac here real quick. If you scroll all the way down, one of the latest additions down here is string tension formula and calculator, or string calculator. Also, there's a plate thickness calculator that somebody put together using Trevor Gore's math formulas from his books. Also, you'll see there's a link to the Looth group, Looth group. Now, if you're not familiar with the Looth group, you should be. Shame on you. That's put together by Ian Davin in New Jersey, I believe is where he's at. And it's just a great, great resource online. It's got in fact, I may even have their website pulled up here. Let's see if we can pull that up here for you to take a look at here. There's the Looth group. And if you just go to theloothgroup.com, it explains what the Looth group is. It's got interactive live events. That's a great, great learning resource. It's got wonderful content, live forums. They even have a thing called the, what do they call it? The Looth-along. There it is. Where it's just a 24/7 Zoom call, and you can just dial in and ask your questions to people like Doug Proper, Evan Gluck, Dan Erlewine. I mean, these guys are heavy hitters, and they'll answer your questions live right there. So if you are not part of the Looth group, you need to be. It's a great, great resource. All right, finally the one last thing we're going to do before we get into StewMac. Let me just pull up one more thing here. When LMI went out of business, I started getting a lot of emails and phone calls about products and services. And I think I've solved the problem for one of those, and that is the O'Brien Guitars neck angle jig. And that was a product that LMI used to manufacture and sell out that went all over the world. I've been working for the past year or so with Greg Porter at Skyscraper Guitars. And if you'll just take a trip over to Skyscraper Guitars, my neck angle jig is now available. And I've got a phone call coming in here. I guess these folks didn't know that I was doing a live stream today. It's probably my mom and dad in Atlanta. All right, I think that about covers it, unless somebody can remember something else. Let's go ahead and bring on StewMac. And here we go. This is Brock Poling, Marketing Director there at StewMac. Welcome aboard. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. Robbie, I think that we're busy at StewMac, but then I hear everything you've got going on, and man, you're putting us to shame.
I don't know how I do it, but I somehow managed to survive. Brock is going to do some product demos this morning, and we're going to give away some stuff. I mean, this is just going to be great. If anybody watching this has a question, just put it in the chat box. I'll try and monitor it, and then if you have any questions about what Brock is doing, then I'll just go ahead and pull it up and feed the question to you, Brock. And as far as I understand, you're going to do a side bending demo this morning?
Yeah, I thought we would do two things today. I thought we would do a side bending demo showing one of the products that we brought out last year, which was our kind of new and improved Fox side bender. And then I thought we would do some fret.
Did we lose you, Brock?
Nope, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're back. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I would say, did you hear me say about doing the bending demo and the fretting demo?
Yeah, you cut out right before the fretting demo. So you're going to do a side bending demo and then a fretting demo then?
Yep, Gene and Body's going to join us to do some fretting demo work. And would you like to start with the bending?
Sure, let's do it. Take it away.
All right.
No pressure now.
No pressure, right? Exactly. So what I typically do, I'm going to just show you what I do, and obviously different people do it different ways. I build double sides. So my sides, I put an inner laminate on there, and when I can, I use spruce for my inner laminate. So both of my sides are sanded to about 40 thou. So this one's a little thicker. This is like a 50 thou, but what I'm going to show will work regardless. If you're just on a single side, it'll still work exactly the same. So typically, I'll just mark my center for my waist. Now, when I bend, I'll profile these, but I didn't profile this because it's not really necessary to the demo we're going to show today. But I typically profile my sides. And then I like to use craft paper. I know there's a lot of folks out there that want to use foil because it holds the water in, but I've had some problems in the past with foil coloring the wood, particularly like on maple and on koa. Like maple will tend to get these little bit of black marks, and koa sometimes gets green in it. So I don't know, somebody a long time ago showed me using craft paper works too, and I've switched to this and I've never had a problem since, so this is where I do it. So I will typically start just by lightly misting the paper, just very light, very little water. And then I use a product called Super Soft on just about everything I bend. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's easy to bend or hard to bend, I just always use this. And I just lightly spray the wood. I'm doing this over a trash can because if this stuff gets on the floor, it's makes your floor really slippery. So keep an eye out for that. I've never had a problem with this in terms of it doing anything like staining the wood or anything. It will leave some marks sometimes when you take it out of the bender, but they will sand right off. It isn't anything that's persistent. So anyway, once I get that done, I've already pre-marked my paper with a center line on it. So I just line up my center line on the paper. Call that close enough. Spray everything down. Now we're ready to bring the bender into the picture. Cool.
Look at that. Brock's even got an assistant.
Hey there.
Hey, I need one of those.
Grant's the guy who makes all the social media happen around here.
I am.
Big applause for him.
Yeah. But Grant does a lot of the videos for us. He does a lot of the editing, and Allie helps us with strategy and stuff like that. So looks like we're bending an OM today. And straps. Slats.
I got slats and straps. Gene, you want to grab those? They're on the ground right over here. This guy a little closer.
Come on. See if I can not knock all the equipment over. We'll walk around to the front. Grant loves it when I do this
Constantly.
because I have a really good knack.
He's an expert at
my foot
knocking
finds the
into stuff.
tripod. Yeah.
You threaten him with a roll of caution tape constantly.
Yeah.
There you go. This is live TV here, folks. What happens, happens.
All right. So start. Slide on the bottom. You see that? Sorry, slide on the bottom.
Just bear with me. I'll switch over to the hand camera, Robbie.
All right, you want me to switch over to the hand camera now?
Yeah. Just get this all plugged in for us.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you grab me a Sharpie back there? Yes, perfect.
All right. Yep. Switch over to the hand cam.
All right. So the other thing I do is I will typically make a mark where my center line is, just so I can see it after I stuff it in the bender. So I've got a slat. I've got my piece of wood. Put a blanket on top. And another slat. And then I use some little spring clamps just to hold that whole sandwich together. Run that, right?
The suspense is killing me, Brock.
Yep, right?
Here we
So
go.
We're going to take the whole thing and just slip it into the side, which if you've ever used one of the original Fox benders, that right there is just a major, major step forward about getting the stuff in and out. When I align my sides, And then we're going to plug in our thermocouple into the back.
So you just
Which
turn
way's
it off.
on?
You just turn it off.
Sorry. Slip our thermocouple in. Okay. And
Let me get you a power strip. Quick, you hold this.
You want me to go back to the other camera?
Fantastic, Robbie. Thank you.
All right, there we go. When you're ready to go back to the handheld camera, just let me know. I'll switch you back over.
Okay.
Folks, this is a major production here. I've got me in Colorado, Brock and them are there at StewMac. We got Allie. Let's bring Allie on here. There's Allie. Hey, Allie, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Allie is she's in New York, I believe, right?
Yep, I am indeed.
And she's the one that really pulls the shots here. She's making sure that everything goes correct here, and Brock's doing everything that he should be doing.
I don't know about that, but I will be the one sending these giveaway items out. So
All right, everybody be nice to Allie then.
I'm the elf, if you will.
There you go. All right, let's go back to Brock here. We got Cesar and Manuela down there in Brazil too. So this is a worldwide production.
all right. That needs to plug into that.
Yeah, Brock, we actually need to flip this over. Yeah, this needs to be over. Technical difficulty. Brock's so excited to bend sides. He got too ahead of himself.
No problem.
Couple out.
Gene, make sure they do it right there now.
Sorry, Robbie, I put the plug on the wrong side.
That's all right.
All right. Okay, we're back in action here. Thermocouple. Just gonna slip it up in the middle right there. Okay, cool. All right, is that plugged in?
Once I plug it in, it's going to start going. So you want it in?
How's it going? All right, so when we do this, what we're going to do is it's 69 degrees right now in the here. We set our temperature controller. Hold on.
Here, you can switch to the other cam, Robbie.
Okay, here we go to the hand cam. Look at that.
All right, Brock's going to hold the camera for a second. I'm going to show you guys how we program this.
Sorry.
No
So,
problem. I've got mine programmed, I think, for 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that what you guys use, Brock?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I've got mine also programmed so it has I can drop it down to, I think, about 250 is what I use for, and then I put it through a heat cycle for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then I shut the unit off. So that program that you see them working on there, you can program your temperatures, your highs and your lows, and then you can toggle between them, which is a great, great benefit of being able to program in the temperature you want. You just turn it on, it already goes to your preset temperature, and then when you're done, you just go ahead and set it to go down to your low temperature and then run it through your heating cycle. So it's a great benefit there.
It's got quite a wide range, but you want to dial it in between, we like to do anywhere between 295 and 300. For the sake of this, we're going to set both the low limit and the high limit to 300.
Because we're not going to put it through a baking cycle like what you just talked about, Robbie. But yes,
Right.
I mean, what you just talked about is very, very normal.
And if you'll notice, when I was changing the level on the lower level, I set that number at 300, so your high can never go lower. So it'll always kind of play nice. You hit P again to lock it in. Hit it again. We'll give a little signal here. And
Should be at 300 now.
almost there. All right.
Okay. Cool. All right, so let's okay, hand the camera. All right, are you all plugged in? You all ready to go?
Once I plug this in, it's going to start heating up.
All right. So while that's happening, I'm going to tell you something about something else. So we have these gloves, these guys, and these are great. These are like heat resistant gloves, and I will be able to handle that blanket with absolutely no problem with these gloves on. And they're light and they're cool, and they're surprisingly they're one of my favorite things about all this.
Keeps you from burning your hands. I've got scars all over my hands from bending sides over the years.
I've never used this.
Anytime you need me to go back to the handheld, just let me know.
Okay.
Here,
So
we're
how
gonna
long
have-
does it typically take you to get from room temperature up to about 300 on your bender?
What's that?
How long does it take you to get from like room temperature up to 300 on your bender?
Couple minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
not very long.
Yeah, it goes very fast.
Yeah.
This guy needs to come through again. You got a number up there?
You got power on that thing?
Yep.
You're unplugged now.
No heat coming through. Don't burn yourself.
Yeah.
I tell you what, while you're figuring that out, why don't we pop down to Cesar down there in Brazil and we'll give away a chisel set. Is that okay? Oh, did I lose my audio?
Works for me.
All right. I think we lost our audio there with Stu Mac. All right. So let's go down to Cesar and Manuela down there in Brazil while they're figuring that out. Let's give away one of the chisel sets. We have 5 chisel sets we're going to give away. And this is going to be the first one. So here we go.
So let's see. We have 7 participants for this round.
Okay. Wow, look at that.
Number 2.
Oh my God. And that just happens to be Jeff up there in Michigan. He came in, he was one of the students that built guitars with me this year. So congratulations
Oh,
to
nice.
Jeff.
Congratulations.
Look at that. And you have won the chisel set. These are a fantastic set of chisels. And so, Cesar, I'll let you keep count of how many we're giving away. That's the first one of
Okay.
5. So let's go back to Stu Mac, see if they're ready, and I'll come back to you here in a few minutes. Congratulations to Jeff up there in Michigan.
Congratulations.
All right, we're back with you. And I see smoke coming off of their steam. So
Yep.
must be
We're in
doing something
business. All
right.
right.
Good thing you got it up and running soon. If not, we would have given away all of Stu Mac.
Right? Right? So typically, Robbie, I wait for us to get to about 260 degrees,
You can switch to
Okay.
the other camera.
and then I start bringing the waist down. And then the first thing I do is I'll bring the waist all the way in, slowly, don't go crazy. And then I back it off just a little bit, and then I bend my sides, or bend my bouts.
And folks, what you're seeing there is not smoke. We're not making rosewood toast. That is steam from the moisture.
Yeah, it's just moisture. And then you just slip the spring over the end, and you just walk the end down. And we do the same thing again. See, this is about the filming. I wouldn't reach over that thing if I was doing this in my shop. And we slip it over the end, walk the end down. Everything good.
Look at that.
And just snug our waist back up. And there we go. And then that is bent. And essentially then after we run that heat cycle that you talked about at the 15 minutes at 250 degrees, when you take it out of there, it is that shape and it will stay that shape with very little spring back.
Very nice. Congratulations to Brock. Look at that. Looks like you've done that 100 times.
I have done that a couple of times, absolutely.
Yeah. By the way, show the adjustable waist on that bender. That's one of the highlights that I like about this bender is that adjustable waist call. Who's running your camera? There we go. All right.
Very slick. And then get this end down here too. And so it's very adjustable. All you have to do is just loosen. I know I kicked your light. All you have to do is just loosen those 2 screws right there, and you can basically change that to any waist shape in just a matter of seconds.
Yep. And it will conform to any size. The dreadnought, the OM, classical, whatever you happen to have in your bender as the form, it will adjust to it, and way to go. I really like that feature.
Yeah, and then the other nice thing too is I have, for decades, I've been using the old style of the Fox bender, where my molds are made as big solid molds that are kind of big and chunky and take up a lot of room in your shop. And this is just basically 3 pieces of Baltic birch plywood that are slipped into these little slots. And when you take them out, you can store them flat, like in a drawer or under a bench or whatever, and they take up almost no room.
Fantastic. I think we need to get Ollie's approval here. Let's make sure. What do you think? Is it an okay? Did he do a good job?
Doing a great job, and I'm excited to see when it comes out.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks for the approval there. All right. Great job, Brock. Looks really good. All right. Let me just check the chat box. I've been neglecting that. Let me make sure we don't have any questions about what you're doing there, because probably somebody will have a question. Jeff says, woohoo, he won the chisel set. Way to go, Jeff. Man, you're just one lucky guy, huh? Let's see if we got any questions here. What temperature do you use for the bending? I think you mentioned that, but somebody's asking about that.
Yeah, so typically the way I do it is I start the bend, the waist bend, I started at 260 degrees. And then by the time that I'm in the waist, that I'm usually at my temperature of about 300. Rosewood I'll bend to 300 to 305. For some other things, I might bend it a little less. Like for instance, if I was bending Koa, I'd probably bend it. I probably would not let it get over about 290, and then I'll bend my bouts in at that point.
Okay.
And you got to be careful with some of the woods on the scorching. Koa to me seems to be the one I have to fight the most. But then there are others that are, I think, a little more kind of resilient to the heat. African blackwood, I can bend that a little hotter. Brazilian rosewood, I can bend that a little hotter. But typically those are kind of the ranges I use.
All right. There's a couple of questions about the paper that you're using. Does craft paper equal parchment paper?
No. So
Okay.
Parchment paper is different. So you want, in this particular case, you want a paper that will hold moisture. So the craft paper is just typical, regular, like it would almost be like an unwaxed butcher paper. So I tend to buy these things at like Target or Walmart or Amazon or whatever. It's just a kind of a coarse paper that when you shoot a little water on it, you know it's getting wet. Parchment paper will bead up and resist that water. You want something to hold it.
And here's another follow-up question to that. Does the craft paper have a coating or is it just paper?
No coating. It's just paper. And then you can also get like white craft paper. I tend to not use that so much, and that's mostly just general paranoia because I don't know what chemicals are in that have made that paper that white, and I don't want it to interfere with, potentially like leaving something on the wood that I didn't intend.
Okay. Here comes a question about using the bender for bindings. My question on your bender is, how do you bend just bindings with the spaces between the three body templates?
First, the bender comes with 3 slats. So if you were worried about that, you could put 2 slats on the bottom and then do that. But there's plenty of rigidity about bending your bindings with just even 1 slat. There's plenty of there's no flex in this at all in terms of like between the slats.
All right. Hold up those gloves again. We have a comment about the gloves. I have a pair of those gloves and they're great and they're pretty cheap too.
Right now, but this is hot and I got my hand laying right on it. So these are they're cloth on the back and they're cloth here, but they've got these little like rubber plastic beads essentially on the palm of the hand, and they're great. I mean, like I said, I can handle that blanket at full temperature with these gloves on.
Yeah. Just a reminder for everybody too, StewMac is having the free shipping on $99 orders or more. And there's a link in the video description box. I think, Cesar, if you would please post that link again in the chat box, that'd be great. So go ahead and take advantage of the special there on the free shipping if you need it. Oh, here Art says you made it look easy, Brock. Way to go, man.
Cool. Awesome.
Doesn't have to be hard, does it? Here we go. Here's one from Rick. He says, I have the bender and I've used it for 3 sets so far and it's really easy. Way to go.
Great. That's good feedback. We love it.
Let's see about the paper. Jeff, who just won the chisel set, the Home Depot sells 6-inch rolls in the paint department, so very handy. Yeah, that's just masking paper for the paint. Yeah, okay. And one more question. Go ahead.
One thing about that is if you could find a 12-inch roll, that is the perfect size. You don't have to cut it. So when you fold it in half, essentially, it's like the perfect size for your bender.
Yeah, great idea. Andrew has a question. How long do you leave it in cool before removing it from the bender?
It depends. I mean, I think after your cook cycle, I let it go back to room temperature, and then I take it out. So whatever that means for you. I mean, a lot of times in my case, I'm very slow, so overnight is not atypical for me to leave it in. But after it's back to room temperature, you're fine to take it out.
Perfect. Here's a comment from Europe. Will Super Soft be sold in Europe, sir, soon? Because I like it a lot. So
I don't know. And in fact, if we're not selling, well, we sell this as well as Veneer Supplies sell this. So Joe from Joe Woodworker is the manufacturer of this, and then I've loved this product so much. When we're coming out of the bender, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, can we carry this too?" And I don't know why we wouldn't be able to sell this overseas. I can look into that if we're not already doing that. Do you know? Can we sell it?
I'm looking at the dinner right now.
Gene's looking now.
okay.
Yeah, and then also too is we own Medinter in Spain, and if they are not currently carrying the product, that they should be probably at some point in the future.
It's not.
All right. And I'm
regulations.
Yeah. Some of it is labeling. Like Europe has different labeling requirements, and some products that we have to go through labeling compliance.
okay. I just put the link to the free shipping order or offer there from StuMac. It's on the screen there. Also in the chat box, also in the video description box. Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
How about Gene? Gene, I think, wanted to do a fretting demo of some of the fretting tools.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can clear this off and give Gene the bench here.
All right. While you're doing that, why don't we pop down to Brazil and give away another set of chisels? So you guys take your time there. And Gene, you're in the on deck circle, so get ready. It's your moment to shine, coming right up. Here we are back down in Brazil. Cesar and the lovely Manuela. Let's give away another set of chisels. What do you think?
Yeah, for the second set of chisels, we have 81 participants.
Wow, okay.
Growing fast. So let's go. Number 71.
There you go. Congratulations.
David Tonzo.
David, you're the lucky winner. Cesar will be in contact, and he will get your contact information and then send it to StuMac. StuMac will send you out. Congratulations. Merry Christmas. You got a brand new set of chisels.
Congrats.
All right. Thank you, Cesar Manuela. We'll be back momentarily.
Thank you.
Here we are. And there's Gene in the on deck circle. He's the fretting rock star.
Hey, folks. So, Robbie, you're in Loveland, Colorado?
I'm in a city called Parker, Colorado. It's about 30 minutes south of downtown Denver. Loveland's about 45 minutes north of Denver.
Well, I got outside of StuMac. I got my first big break in Lutherie in 1995, and I went to work for John Eaton at Woodsongs Lutherie in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh yeah. There you go.
I worked for John for quite a many years there when I was much younger.
Well, good for you. If you ever get back out here, then drop in. Be sure and drop in.
Love to. So I want to just kind of quickly talk to you folks a little bit today. I see a lot of people, newer builders, and even some more experienced builders when we go to shows or get to meet our customers who do a wonderful job at building guitars. Like, for instance, this is a StuMac kit. This is one of our OM kits, and these make wonderful guitars. And I see a lot of this, and this was built with care. The marquetry and all the joinery is really nice. The finish is beautiful. It plays and sounds great. But what I find on a lot of these is when you zoom in, the same attention to detail that was done on the rest of the guitar. You'll see beautiful inlays and beautiful binding. And like I said, the finish looks great. And then you zoom in.
Here, switch camera, Robbie.
Okay, here we go.
And we take a look at the frets. And whenever I see these, that's usually where my eye goes to first, because my main gig is repair. And I do a lot of fret work. And I don't know how well you can see these on here, but the quality of the fret ends especially don't match the quality of the rest of the guitar. You can see like some of these fret ends will look like an old Martin kind of style fret end, and then the frets are on either side don't exactly look like that. You can see gaps in some of these frets. So even though it might play great and sound great, the quality of the fretwork doesn't quite match the rest of the guitar. And I see that quite often. And I think a lot of that, let me get rid of this here. I think a lot of that comes down to repetition. When you're building guitars, especially at the boutique level or the hobbyist level, you might be lucky to build 3, 4, 5, half a dozen guitars a year. So you're doing maybe 6 fret jobs a year.
Right.
Whereas from a standpoint, I might be doing that in a matter of weeks. So over the course of a year or 10 years, we do a whole lot more fretwork on the repair side of Luthiery. So our chops sometimes are a little bit better. So what I'd like to do today is just kind of give you just a quick rundown of how I do fret-ins.
Perfect. Have at it. That's something we all need.
Take a look here. So I've mocked up a fretboard here just on a piece of mahogany, and here are 4 fret-ins that I've done compared to the other side that I haven't touched yet. So I'm just going to kind of run through this real fast and hopefully be able to give you a few tips that maybe will help you get cleaner, nicer looking, more consistent fret-ins, and show you some of the tools that I use to do that. And hopefully that'll be helpful to some of you. So
Perfect. Guys, get ready to take notes. There's a free class for you on fretting.
I say, well, like I said, I started under John Eaton 30 years ago. And one of the things I learned a lot from him is that any of this stuff is just a series of steps, whether it's 3 steps or 100 steps. And if you complete each step perfectly before moving on to the next one, it's going to go a whole lot smoother. And I'm sure you all know that applies broadly across this whole art. So I'm thinking about my fret-ins well before I ever even get into the point of doing my fret-ins. And that begins with the fit of the fret to the slot. Every fret job is a compression refret. So what I mean by that is how this fret fits into this slot is the beginning of my fret-in. Actually, I'll back up a little bit from that. The beginning of my fret-in comes in the prep of this board and making sure everything's flat and straight and clean, and that edge of my board is perfectly sharp, because I'm looking for a line that runs all the way down my fretboard, meets cleanly with the fret, comes over the top of the fret, and just keeps moving. I don't want gaps. And I want everything just nice and clean, and that begins with the prep of the board and the fit of the fret in the slot. So in order to get clean fret-ins, the fret needs to stay in the slot. It doesn't, whether you believe in glue or not, you want that fit to be good. You want that fret to be solid in there so that everything joins neatly. So, okay, so we've got our fret in our slot, everything's nice and solid, and everything meets well. The next thing you need to do is clip them flush. And one thing I do that I don't think a lot of people do, and probably for good reason, when you cut your frets, this is generally how you'll see it done. Even pictures on our own website and in some of our own videos cut their frets this direction. It makes sense. And in some areas, like in over the body or in a cutaway, you have to do this so that you have the room to get the tool in there. Now, watch what I do here. I'm gonna cut this fret sideways, as you often see done. So I don't know how well we can see this on camera, but there's my fret end. What I like to do is cut my fret the other direction, this way. It's a little bit harder on the tool, but these are hardened jaws, and nickel silver is pretty soft. So I come in this way, and I make sure that the face of my fret, or the face of my tool, is touching the side really well. I'm not digging anywhere. And I cut this way. So let's see if we can see a difference here. Here's the fret that was cut sideways. Can you focus on that? Yeah.
But yeah, you can see.
And here's the fret I cut up and down. It's a subtle difference, but I'm already at a nice clean looking T right here. Here, when I cut sideways, it tends to mushroom under, like mush the underside of the fret a little bit and push everything this way. I feel like I get a much cleaner start to my fret end cutting up and down. I used to spend a lot of time cutting this direction and then cleaning anything out. I find that I get a much better result cutting this way. So, your mileage may vary. You can experiment to see what you like better and what works better for you. Not everybody's fret ends look the same, but this is one little thing that I do that I think helps me get the fret end look that I'm after. So let me go ahead and cut the other ones here. The other thing I like to do is you pay attention to how I'm holding this tool. If you back up a little here, Grant, you can see I have these handles are long for a reason, to give me leverage to cut through here. So if you hold your tool up here, you tend to mush the metal a little more. It's a little slower of a cut. But if I come to the back of the tool and I tend to hold my finger on the edge so that I push down into the board as I cut, I don't want to cut and lift up and pull my fret back out of the slot that I took the time to make sure fit really well. So I'll hold my finger here, I hold to the back, and I'm looking for one clean, quick kind of snap. And I get a much cleaner looking fret end to begin with. I have less work to do to make that look like a nice clean tee. So we'll cut this one as well. So there we have it. And then that brings us into bringing it in flush to the side of the board. And we, of course, have files for that. This is our fret end dressing file that comes with the snap lock system that we sell here. So these fit right into this handle. We sell a few different types of files that go into this. These are great. One thing I like to do, though, is use these without the handle. Probably because here is my first file that I ever used to dress fret ends, and I still use it to this day. This is just a mill file, a standard Craftsman mill file you can get at any hardware store that I've cut the tail off and ground clean, smooth sides on. This has done thousands of fret jobs at this point, and it's so dull that it barely cuts, and that's what I love about it. Because I really have to dig in to remove material. So I'm not removing anything unless I really push hard. So I can tell when I get through metal and start hitting wood. And I've also taken this file and put a small bend in it. So if I look down, I'm curved this way. And then it might be hard to see, but I put just a slight curve in this file that allows me to get across these frets without bumping into them. So this is a file I've made myself that I still use quite a bit. Now, since we've come out with this fret end file, I do love this one as well. It's got straight teeth as opposed to what you normally see on a mill file that has slanted teeth. The reason I like that is it helps to keep this file moving straight. On a typical mill file with the slanted teeth, it can sometimes want to travel a little bit. These are both great. I still use them both. Let's use the StewMac file here because it cuts a little bit quicker. So I'm taking this in steps. There's a beveling stage that I'm not doing right now. I am just making these 90 degrees. I want these straight up and down and clean and flush. I'll worry about what bevel I put in this later. If I go right now and combine the reducing of the width in with the bevel right now, I'm bound to overshoot that. So I'm breaking it into two steps. So we just keep going, and as I go, I watch the tang become narrower because I still have a little bit of compressed metal from cutting that, and as I get close, I start to hear the sound change. So we go from where I'm obviously hitting metal to where I'm now hitting mostly wood. And we have a pretty clean looking tee already going here. And then once I get to that stage, I'm still straight up and down. Now I'm going to add my bevel. And we do sell a tool for that will give you the bevel you want. I think it's 35 to 40 degrees, which works really well on a lot of different instruments. again, I still like to use my hand because I like to control what bevel I want, especially doing repairs. Not all guitars require the same bevel. Some I want a little more straight up and down. Some I want a little further in. So if you're building guitars and you know what you want, that's a great tool to have. You can lock what angle you want, and it's a lot faster. But over the years, I've gotten used to just doing this. So I'm going to move quickly here, and I'm not going to spend the time I normally would or that I spent on these. But as soon as I get my bevel in there, I'm looking pretty good here. And I'm meeting up all along here, and it's looking better, but it's still feeling sharp. And I don't really want to address that sharpness until I get a little bit further along here. It's the same reason that I kind of divide up the flushing stage of getting the sides in. I break that separately from the angle so that I can concentrate on each one here. So right now I still want these to be sharp because I'm looking for that sharp line here that goes all the way around each fret, no gaps, nice and clean.
You know, one tip you gave me that I really liked a lot was not taking that sharpness off
Right.
until the very end, because you end up with mushy frets if you don't.
Yes, that was the point I started to make there, and I kind of got sidetracked. And Brock is right. I break all of that up because right now I'm not worried about the sharpness. I actually want it to feel pretty sharp right now, because if I start worrying about how sharp this feels now before I finish shaping my ends and getting everything to that point, by the time I'm done, it might feel clean, but it's going to look like mush. You know, I want everything nice and defined. And then in the end, if it looks perfect and still feels sharp, that's pretty easy to deal with. We can always take more metal away, but if I get ahead of myself and I remove too much now later on, even though it may feel good and functionally work, aesthetically it doesn't really suit me. And that gets back to what we see on some of these guitars where, you know, you're spending the time on the inlay and making everything look beautiful. Now we need to apply that same attention to detail to our fret ends. So then I have some other tools here that I use, and obviously here's the all-star of the club, our fret end dressing file.
Oh, I heard that's the most the tool that sells the most at StewMac is that. In fact, I've got one right here. Look at that.
Yes.
And I use the heck out of that thing. I'm almost worn it out.
Yeah, and you know, with these kind of files, I like them better after they wear out. You know, it's a little better when they're cutting a little bit dull. At least for me, I like the kind of the surface it leaves a little bit better, and I get used to working with these tools after they've lost their initial sharpness. I kind of prefer that. So I break this up into two steps as well, just like everything else here. So we have two sides to this, two safe edges. Now, a safe edge doesn't mean you're not going to scratch your fingerboard. It just means it's going to help you not scratch your fingerboard. You still have to exercise some caution and some technique when you use this tool. I always start on the flat side, and I come in and I address these sharp little points. And I'll start pretty much parallel to the side of the fret and hit this angle and roll just to hit this tiny point. And I'm not really trying to change the appearance too much. This sharp little point that I've created, mating the side of my fret to the sharp edge of my fingerboard, I just want to take that little point off with the flat side, because with the flat side, I can really get in there and hit that point. I can't see what I'm doing now because I'm half blind and I don't have my OptiVisors on. So don't judge my results based on what I'm doing here. I'm trying to.
Well, I know that feeling.
So
it's works every year too, doesn't it?
It catches up with all of us. So especially when you're used to concentrating on this, my eyes start to go. So then I'll roll around to the other side. This has a rounded edge. So I start with the flat because that allows me to really get to the corner. And then when I move to the rounded edge, it's even a little safer. It's smoother than these edges on the flat corner, but it elevates the surface a little bit. I can't quite get in there to hit that point when I'm using the rounded side. So the flat side hits the points. I shoot over to the rounded side, I'm going to start in the same area and just move and rotate until I hit the center of my crown. Just very lightly. I'm not trying to remove a lot of material, just a few strokes on each side, just to remove that sharp edge. And I'm still going for something that looks sharp and really defined. And I want just a nice line. I want to break that sharp edge all the way around and join it to the two corners I just removed. So then I'll repeat that for all four of them. And I'll end up with something that still looks really defined, but is starting to smooth out. And another thing I like to do is I'll take, again, one of these snap files that go into this handle, and I'll use some double stick tape, and I'll put some 1500, 2000 grit sandpaper on the back of this so that I can come and take any scratches off the edge of my frets here and still keep them nice and sharp looking. So I want to remove scratches here without really changing the shape. So whatever grit sandpaper works for you. I use something pretty high just because I'm just trying to keep it shiny and not remove a lot of material. And then finally, we can also use some micro mesh here. These pads are great. I'll cut them up into little chunks, and I can come through and get the rest of my scratches and polish all of this out nicely without altering the shape of the fret too much. But kind of my secret weapon in all of this are burnishers. I use burnishers quite a bit. I'll make my own. Here's one I've made out of a piece of bone that works really well, that I've shaped and polished out and put a handle on. Here's some I've made out of some hardened steel gauge pins that I've polished up really well. Because your fret end isn't just the piece of metal on the end of your fret, it's the edge of your fingerboard too. So if your fret end is nice and soft and feels good, it's still going to kind of feel sharp as you're playing because you're hitting that sharp edge of your fingerboard. And if you use sandpaper, you're really changing the shape a lot and you're putting scratches in you need to remove. I prefer to come in with a burnisher and reshape this edge and really get a nice soft edge. Nickel silver is pretty soft, so you can even burnish the edges of your frets too. I'll make these in two or three different sizes so I can really get in there. This piece of bone works great for getting right in on the corners and just pushing all that in and making it nice and smooth. And it compresses the wood and shines it. It's really great. You can see this side, I spent a little more time burnishing this edge. And while it looks really sharp, it feels great. It's nice and soft and clean. And then my last little burnishing tool is just an 1/8 inch piece of tooling leather. Or you can even use an old belt, just a thick, soft piece of leather. And I like to use Flitz metal polish a lot. You can get that at just about any hardware store, and it does a great job of polishing nickel silver. And on a piece of thick leather, you can really get in here and burnish these edges and shine them up and just get a mirror shine in all of these. I'll even tape off and hit the tops of my frets with these after I've done my level, crown, and dress. So just a few little tools I like to use. Use feeler gauges. Of course, everybody has feeler gauges, but in the beginning stages of making sure that everything meets, I don't trust my eyes. So if I see what I think is a gap, I'll want to measure it. So I always double check things with feeler gauges. So here's a few tools I use, a few little tricks I use to try to get fret ends that I like. I know a lot of people have different thoughts of like hemispherical fret ends and old Martin style fret ends or more modern looking fret ends. Whatever you do, whatever you like is totally fine. This is part of the artistic of your build. And to me, your fret ends are like your signature. I like to be able to tell my own fretwork just from looking at my fret ends. So
wow,
hopefully
Gene, that was amazing. A round of applause for Gene, because my God, that was amazing. I even picked up a few tips myself, and I've been doing fretting for a long time. So thank you so much. And folks, this is just a free class from StewMac there. So congratulations and thank you so much, Gene.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, folks.
All right, so shall we pop back down to Brazil? Here we go, Cesar. Here we come. Let's give away. I'll tell you what. Well, let's give away the essential fretting tool set that Gene just talked about there. Let's give that away.
Okay, so we have 90 participants for this last round.
Okay.
So let's see. And we have number 20.
Reed Johnson. Congratulations. All right. And you have won the Essential Fretting tool set, and we will have Cesar get in touch with you. Cesar, we'll be back to you here in just a few minutes. Let's go back over to the StewMac. Here we are. All right. Well, we got another demo set up, and actually not a demo. We're not going to actually demo it. We're going to just talk about it. This is the Ilva products that we're going to give away, and these are fantastic products. Jeff Jewett and I have been using them at the finishing class we teach at Mark Adams. So take it away, Brock.
Yeah, well, I don't probably have anything extra to say about these than you would, because you are one of the ones that turned me on to this. But yeah, I saw these initially at the finishing class that you guys taught at Mark Adams, and it is an amazing finish. Amazing. It does a great job. It sprays fast. It sands fast. It produces just something great. So as a result of that, we started carrying it, and we got the manufacturer of it to basically give it to us in quart-sized cans, which was I think something at least a little bit different. So we have that whole line, and then the other thing that we have that we really like a lot, and it's not even necessarily for the Ilva, it could be for any finishing, are these Eagle abrasives. So these are papers that you can use to sand. You can sand between your finish coats, and they are used dry. You don't have to wet sand, which is a huge plus.
Yep, I've been using those for several years now since Jeff Jewett turned me on to them, and I absolutely love them. The Ilva products I've been using for almost 25 years now, and catalyzed urethane, high solids, sprays nice, lays down nice, levels nice, fantastic. Should we give one away, Brock?
Let's do it.
All right, here we come, back down to Brazil. Let's see if Allie's sleeping there yet. Are you asleep yet?
I was muted, but I'm awake.
All right, I thought I heard you snoring earlier. All right, let's go back down to Brazil. Here's Cesar and Manuela. Here we go. This giveaway, and this is a fantastic product, folks. Whoever gets this, man, I am jealous. And this is going to be for domestic only, okay?
Yeah. So let's see. And we have number 85.
Jeff. Congratulations to Jeff. All right, Cesar will be in touch, and he will need your name, email address, shipping address, and what else? I think your phone number we'll need on that. Allie, can you give us more information about that, please?
Yeah, I will need shipping address and name, email, and phone number for all of these. So if you send those along, I'll get all these orders in.
All right, Cesar's going to take care of that. Let's go back over to Brock. Man, we're just jumping all over the world here. You see this, folks? I mean, I'm in Colorado, Cesar's in Brazil, Brock's in Ohio there at StewMac, and then Allie's there in New York. This is just nuts. Oh, one more product you wanted to talk about. That's right.
Yeah, so these are a product. You can't buy these just yet. These are going to be out, we're thinking February, that Doug Proper, he invented these. These are a very slick little product. He refers to them as a prop jack. And what they're for is reaching inside of a guitar and
I've got the close-up cam, Robbie, if you want to.
Use it as a clamp to re-glue like a loose brace. So you could just reach inside, or you could use it to hold a spline in place. You could do a bunch of things. But anyway, with one hand, you could slip this inside the guitar, get it in place, and essentially then tighten it up to where you need it to be, and it is right there. And it's very simple. It's very small, very compact. This one has a head in it with a magnet, but we are going to have other ones too. So we're going to have ones that have these heads with these sort of shaped tops in them. So they'll basically sit on top of a brace, and you can use the brace as basically a holder for it. So anyway, so these will be out soon, and we're pretty excited about that for early next year.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. I have a few of those here in my shop myself from Doug Proper, and I use them all the time. They're great. All right, we have a few more tools to give away. We have, if my calculations are correct, we still have 3 more chisel sets to give away. And so let's go back down to Brazil. Here we are with Cesar Manuela. Is that correct, Cesar? Do we have 3
Yes,
chisel
yes,
sets?
correct.
All right, let's
3.
just go ahead and give away all 3 of them.
Oh, okay. In sequence. Okay.
And we have a question. Where are the Santa hats, by the way? Because I think last year you had
Oh,
Santa
yeah.
hats.
So the first one goes to Greg Orlando.
Greg
Okay.
Orlando, congratulations.
This is number 81. Okay, so let's go to the second one, which is actually the 4th. And we have number
What do we have that we're giving away?
93, James.
93, James. Yep.
Okay.
All right, and we have
And
one
the
more
final
chisel
is-
set to give away.
Final chisel set goes to, let's see, Manala.
Steve
Number
Williams,
21,
congratulations.
Steve Williams. Congratulations, Steve.
There we go. All right, thank you very much, Cesar. Let's go back over here to Brock.
Thank you.
Brock, I think we've about done as much damage as we can do in 1 hour. What do you think?
I think we have.
You have anything
So-
else you want to discuss or talk about or give away before the end of the show here?
I don't think so. I mean, I certainly would be open to any questions anybody had, but I want to be respectful of time too. So, yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them now or talk to folks afterwards.
All right, so if you have a question, quickly put it in the chat box there. We'll try and get to it. I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in here. It takes a little bit of effort to pull these things off, and I appreciate you guys spending an hour here with us, and I hope you found it beneficial. I know that I did. I mean, that fretting demo was fantastic. I picked up a lot of little tricks and tips from that. So thank you so much. Let's say thank you to all the folks at StewMac. We've got Grant, we've got Gene, we've got Brock, we've got Allie there in New York. Merry Christmas, Allie. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you
guys.
Yep. Thank you to Brock, Gene, and Grant there in Ohio. Merry Christmas to all you guys. We're going to hit the ground running in 2025. So I look forward to it. And thank you, StewMac, so much for being one of the Luther Academy sponsors. Greatly appreciated. And if you guys need anything, remember, $99 free shipping offer. Just click the link in the chat box there. All right, folks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
All right. Thank you. Over and out. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody.
See ya.